day 2 and somewhat earlier than expected. I thought I'd do another short video to show a video that I made back in 2015, which really explains why I do the ketogenic diet. And that'll follow at the end of this little clip. You started off there with a shot of today's delights. This is basically what my grandmother would have called chicken rissoles. Only she wouldn't quite recognize them because the breadcrumbs she would have used have been replaced by nut flour. And that's just to make it ketogenic. But that is an example of how once you understand the process, you can adjust recipes to your own taste. I'm just back from a game of cricket and feeling pretty good actually. I was up early this morning, watched my son play. I haven't eaten all day, and I didn't eat yesterday to make sure that I was in ketosis for the game this afternoon. And now I will have less pain tomorrow after 30 overs of cricket in 35-degree heat here in Singapore than I used to have when I played for Mortimer West End back in the UK. Then I really didn't know about ketosis, and I didn't know why after a game it would take me a week to recover until the next game. So yeah, when I was talking to one of my friends earlier this week who plays cricket with me and hasn't played recently, he said it's now becoming too painful. And I said to him, well actually I now play with less pain at 55 than I did every game I played in my 20s, my 30s and my 40s. The real reason I do the ketogenic diet comes out of a fast that I did in 2014. I have a rare muscle condition. It's known as McArdle's disease, and it's also known as type 5 glycogen storage disorder. And what that means is that I don't have an enzyme that breaks down the glycogen we store in our muscles to use for energy. That means that I've never been able to run. I've never really been able to walk upstairs. I can manage about 2 flights before my muscles will gradually grind to a halt. As a boy, my dad used to take me to football. I used to go and watch Bristol City, Ashton Gate in the UK, and we'd park about a 10-minute walk away from the ground. That was fine on the way to the ground because we walked downhill. After every single game I went to with him, we would walk back to the car, and it would be an uphill walk. On the way back to the car, every time I would have to stop at a certain point. My muscles would start to seize up, my calves would become tight, my hamstrings, my thighs, then my chest. Everything would just become tight until I had to stop. Now, at that age, I didn't know what it was. I was told it was laziness, I needed to exercise more. And it wasn't until I was diagnosed at 40 plus that I realized that I had this particular condition. At that stage, I was told, lower your carbs, increase protein, and exercise daily was really the only prescription. Now in 2014 I went for a fast in Koh Samui, and for whatever reason on this particular fast, I'd done fasting before but I'd always had fruit juice. This fast I just took water, and day 6 of the fast I was suddenly able to walk up hills. I didn't have to stop. It was just a completely new experience for me. I could jump in the pool and I could swim 50 lengths. It's only a 25-meter pool, but still, for me, that was something quite extraordinary. I really couldn't understand it. And so I spoke to one of my friends in the McArdle's community, a guy called Andrew Wakelin, who is really a national treasure for those of us that have the disease. And he said to me, well, I think you're probably in ketosis. I didn't know what ketosis was. I looked it up and I found references to a ketogenic diet. And from there, I have become a firm believer that for those of us that have McArdle's disease, a ketogenic diet is a solution. It enables me to have huge amounts of freedom. It enables me to play cricket, as I did today, and to wake up tomorrow and to have no pain. That is something I have not had or not been able to do for many years. So that's why I do a ketogenic diet. It's also why when I got back from Koh Samui, I was desperate for other people to experience what I had experienced. Complete freedom, and that's something that those of us with McArdle's do not have. When we were walking across Wales, a group of us in 2010, we joked that if you had a muscle disease, well, McArdle's wasn't a bad disease to have. But to be completely free of it, as I am when I am either fasting or deep in ketosis, is something I'd only dreamed of. And so I was desperate to share that with the broader McArdle's community. And I'm delighted that since the initial skepticism, if you like, in 2014, it has now become a much more widely accepted solution for us. Medical research is not there yet with us, but as a patient community, more and more people are trying a ketogenic diet, and more people are finding success with it. So that's why I do it. That's why I'm making these videos, to encourage more people to try and to let them have the sheer sense of elation that I experienced when I was able to do things I'd never been able to do before. Back in 2014, I got back from that fast, and for the first time in my life, I was able to jog for 30 minutes. Now, to many people, jogging for 30 minutes is just something they do. It's just something that they get on a treadmill, they jog for 30 minutes, no issue. I think the maximum I had managed before that was 8 minutes. And I think that had been when I had been in ketosis, because I'd reduced my carbs so much and I happened not to have eaten that much protein. So that's why I do it. I hope you're going to find these videos helpful for those of you with McArdle's. For those of you following who don't have the disease, well, I hope you might enjoy some of my recipes and just see how a low-carb, healthy fat diet can benefit you. So the next clip is really going to be for those of us, for those watching that do have McArdle's who may not have seen this video before. And it just illustrates the difference for me in my physical capability in and out of ketosis. Over the next 2 days, I'm going to try and illustrate the benefits of ketosis with a couple of walks up 2 different sets of steps. Today, I'm going to deliberately get out of ketosis, and drinking this can of orange drink should do the trick. It's 33 grams of sugar per serving. So I shall drink this, then going to eat a piece of pizza, and then we're going to go and try a short bunch of stairs. Then I'll spend the next 24 hours or so getting back into ketosis, and then I'm going to try 321 steps and see how my body copes with both challenges. So 20 minutes later, time for a quick blood test to see if there's any ketones circulating in my blood. Hopefully there isn't. Low will hopefully be low enough to not have an impact. So now we'll go and try the stairs. It's a relatively modest group of stairs I'm going to climb, and we'll see how it goes. So we made 50, but my thighs are definitely feeling a little bit tight. I'm going to go and try and do these again, and I think I'm going to have to stop pretty early on. Here's where the pain is. I've managed those okay, but we'll try a few more. Today, out of ketosis, and towards the end of those steps there, it was a bit of a struggle. Actually, I was surprised how many I managed to cover relatively easily. So now the task is to get fully into as much ketosis as I can by the same time tomorrow, or late tomorrow afternoon, so that we can go and try the 300 steps and see how that goes. So that's going to involve not eating much at all, probably no carbs, and a lot of walking, slow walking, to try and burn off whatever carbs there are in my system. Thanks. So here we are again at the steps, mildly in ketosis, only 0.4, which is a bit lower than I would have liked, but I haven't eaten anything since last night apart from a few macadamia nuts, so at least I am in ketosis, and now we'll try the steps again. That's 6 times. It's double what I think I managed last time. You can certainly feel it, having jogged up the last few there. But if I went down to the bottom again now and gave myself a little recovery period, I'm sure I could come up here again. In fact, that's what we'll do, just once from right from the bottom, and see how that goes. That's 50 steps, and again I can feel it at the top, but there was no rest in between that 6th set and then back to the bottom and up again. So much more capacity even for something like this that's anaerobic when in ketosis, is my conclusion at least.